What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 60 of JK Sports Talk. Today we are back and we are here with Jared making his return to the show. Jared, thank you for coming back on.
Of course. Happy to be back.
Yes. All right, we are back together right now, and we are here to talk about Week 3 and just Week 3 recap in the NFL. There were a lot of good games this week, surprisingly. I know one thing I talked about was that there weren't going to be a lot of, there weren't great matchups particularly, but they ended up being pretty good. So let's get started. So we're going to start off, obviously, in the 1 o'clock games. So the first game we'll talk about here. We'll start with the Jaguars versus the Texans in Jacksonville. Jaguars picked up the win 17-10. All right, so I have a few things to talk about here. So one thing, if I were a Texans fan and just the team in general, I would start to worry about CJ Stroud a little bit. If I'm being completely honest, I hope Jared can admit that, even though he's an Ohio State fan. But listen, his offensive line isn't helping by any means. It's terrible. I've seen it. But just if you really just watch him play, he doesn't have that spark anymore. Right now he doesn't really have that spark. I know. I feel like the Tank Dell injury is actually more effective than people realize. I think just missing that deep target is a big problem for him, and he has to, I guess, play a lot differently. But right now, this Texans team looks dead, and I'd be really worried. I mean, they're 0-3 right now, and I remember everyone gave me shit on TikTok saying they would not win the division, and yeah, look who's talking now, but whatever. But now looking on the Jaguar side, they had a nice win. Their defense played really well. Their defense is playing a lot better as of late. Trevor Lawrence, he didn't play. Listen, both the quarterback play in this game was not particularly good at all. He had 50% completion percentage, one interception, not great by any means. But you saw Travis Etienne score another touchdown. He's been looking good this season. Whoever has him in fantasy, he's looked solid. You saw Brenton Strange get 6 catches for 61 yards. Good tight end for them. And another thing I want to talk about here. I'm definitely worried about Brian Thomas. If you just watch him play, he's like scared to catch the ball. It's really weird. I don't really know what's going on. But yeah. But also, I saw this on TikTok today. This I don't. I think this is true, but the Jaguars passing game coordinator is Shane Waldron, and I know Shane Waldron. They're in trouble just for that reason. And I saw another thing on TikTok. Like whenever he left the team, just receivers have turned better. Like JSN turned better. Romo Dunze's look great, and now Brian Thomas is receiving that effect. So, yeah, maybe reconsider hiring him. But anyways, good win for the Jaguars.
Yeah, it was a good win, but I think it's more that the Texans are just terrible. I mean, their offensive line, that my biggest concern, Stroud's been bad the last 2 years, but their offensive line is like not even giving him a chance. Especially last week, again, which is like now been like 10 days since then, but when they blew that game to the Bucks, Stroud had no chance. His offensive line was terrible. And then this week, on the basically the last play of the game, he threw a pick to end the game. The offensive line just broke down. Obviously, he's not playing as well. I'm not like deflecting all the blame off of him, but I do agree. I feel like him and Tank Dell had a great connection in the year when they in Stroud's rookie year when he like took the league by storm. Like Tank Dell was getting deep touchdowns every week, and now it seems like he doesn't really have. Nico Collins is still a solid number one receiver, but it feels like they don't have the same connection right now. Collins did have a good game yesterday. It just still feels like they're missing that like deep threat down the field like that Tank Dell had. Tank Dell was. I still feel like the Jags though, like Liam Cohen. I'm still like I don't feel great about Liam Cohen. I think the Colts are the best team in that division. Um, Daniel led by Daniel Jones. Um, but yeah, Trevor Lawrence still not playing well. Like they're 2-1, but Trevor Lawrence just he's been progressively getting worse every year. So I'm pretty concerned about the Jags. They are 2-1 though, so you can't really be too upset if you're a Jaguars fan right now. And ETN, by the way, I had him in fantasy like 2 years ago, and he was horrible. So I'm like a little bit annoyed that he's playing well because he was terrible the last 2 years.
No, yeah, his it was. I don't know if it was his first or second year, but he was actually very good. And then now he's coming back a little bit, which is good. All right, I skipped over this game. This is my apologies. So we'll just go over the Thursday night game between the Dolphins and the Bills. Bills picked up the win, 31-21. Um, yeah, honestly, this was like a better game than people expected. The Dolphins, like, I think they held their own to say the least, at least in Buffalo. but there's still a lot of problems with Miami for sure. Two was a big issue, major issue. You're seeing the effects of the receivers. Like Tyreek hasn't been playing great. Neither has Jalen Waddle and just everyone else. But the only bright spot I guess on that offense is Devon Achane's been pretty good. At least I know in fantasy he didn't have a touchdown this game, but overall he's been solid. You saw Ollie Gordon score, which is good for the Dolphins. All right, now let's go to the Bills. Yeah, Josh Allen had another good game, 3 touchdowns. Didn't have a lot of passing yards, but it was enough to win. You saw James Cook once again play really well, had over 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. And you saw Dalton Kincaid get a touchdown. He had a good day. 5 catches, 66 yards. Yeah, touchdown, 5 catches with 66 yards. And you saw Khalil Shakir, touchdown. Just an overall solid game for Buffalo. I think that defense could have been a little sharper. It was sharper at the end as they picked off Tua. But, still a solid win. Divisional opponent win. So, yeah, good win for the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I just like can't believe how many times Tua late in big games. Obviously, they're not a good team even if they win this game, but like late in games, he throws a terrible pick or takes a terrible sack, and they fall short. I mean, I just have to say, I if you want to go to August 29th, JK Sports Talk on TikTok, I did predict the Dolphins to go 5-12.
Michael is
I think I think I deserve a little bit of credit for that take. I kind of knew early on that they were not going to be a good team, and they're kind of proving that. I was impressed by McDaniel how they ran the offense, especially in the first half. I mean, they were like moving the ball for most of the game, but of course Tua late in the game made a terrible mistake, like literally staring down the wide receiver and just got picked. It was terrible. The Bills I feel like didn't even play that well. It was not their
No,
best
he did.
game,
Yeah.
but the Dolphins are just so bad that the Bills still found a way to win. And Josh Allen, I mean, he could win another MVP this year.
Yeah, very possible. Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised you remember the date. Good for you. Okay.
I just looked. I just looked. I didn't remember.
That's fair enough. But yeah, that's very reasonable now. All right. Next up, we have the Falcons versus the Panthers in Carolina. Panthers won 30-0. I think this was definitely a surprise. I thought the Falcons were going to win. Uh, the last thing I thought was that the Panthers would smoke the Falcons. We saw a really bad game from Michael Penix. He was looked alright. He's looked pretty good this season until this game. This game he looked awful. That Panthers defense looked great. A shutout is always very nice. And they honestly shut down Bijan, and Drake London didn't do too much. And on the Panthers side, like honestly, I'm looking at the stats right now. Bryce Young didn't even do that well in the passing end. I know he had a rushing touchdown, so that's good for him. But we saw things from Rico Dowdle, which is good. And I'm looking at it right now. Their offense didn't even do that much, if I'm being honest. We saw Chow Smith Wade get a pick six, so that was good. But that's not how you pronounce it. I know, but
No, I don't know how you pronounce this
yeah,
interesting
I'm
name.
just looking at the stat line here. A lot of field goals. There were a lot of field goals and just short touchdowns for the Panthers. But hey, a win's a win. Panthers would obviously take any win in these past few years it's been. But Bryce Young, he played good enough. He had a touchdown, played a solid game, and it was enough to beat the Falcons. And we saw Kirk Cousins come back in, and he didn't do too much. There's nothing much to say about this game. Then the Falcons, yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. This is embarrassing, losing to the Panthers by 30 points and getting shut out. So, yeah, yeah, very good win for the Panthers.
Yeah, I feel like I was surprised it was a blowout, but I wasn't surprised that the Panthers won because I kind of going into the year I feel like I wasn't that high on the Falcons and the Panthers I think improved in the second half last year. So like I was kind of expecting these two teams to be kind of similar. Um and like I was expecting a close game, but I wasn't surprised the Panthers won. Their defense actually looks really good so far this year. Um Obviously, they lost to the Cardinals, but in the second half last week or 2 weeks ago, they held them like pretty much to nothing in the second half. So since then, they basically haven't allowed points in the last like I think maybe 6 quarters, which is pretty impressive. Bryce Young, as you said, rushing touchdown. I still want to see more though. Like he's like number
Yeah,
one
I
overall
mean,
pick. He's
he
just
threw
boring.
120 pass yards. That's nothing. So,
Yeah, that was a good win for the Panthers.
yeah, definitely. All right, next up we have the Raiders versus the Commanders. Commanders picked up the win 41-24. Yeah, Washington's offense looked amazing. Marcus Mariota came in for Jane Daniels. He was hurt, missed the game, and he played really solid. He played really well. 200 yards, a touchdown, and just led the offense. Like just was just definitely just was able to just command the game. Like he didn't do anything crazy, nothing special. He also had a rushing touchdown, but it was just a really good game in general. We saw touchdowns from a lot of different players. Jeremy McNichols. We saw a touchdown from Bill Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. We saw a touchdown from looking at right now. We saw Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey scored. That was, I mean, I'm sure. I think he scored a touchdown before, but I haven't seen it myself. But yeah, very good win for Washington. That offense looked great, very similar to last year. Even without Jaden Daniels, that was very impressive. I think that does say something about the Raiders defense. Their defense hasn't looked great by any means. They look great. They look good week one, but ever since then, not amazing. On on the Raiders side though, they didn't even play that bad on offense. Like I'm looking at it, Gino played well. He had 3 touchdowns, 289 yards. Like he actually played very well. Ashton Genty, um, he need I one thing about yeah, he's been like definitely mediocre. He's not getting a lot of yards per carry, and that's a problem. Um, yeah, but someone we have to talk about for the Raiders, Trey Tucker. This was definitely a sneaky good game from a team that got kind of smoked. He had 8 catches, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just a very random stat line no one's really talking about, but definitely a good game for him. Their offense, yeah, once again, their offense didn't even play bad. Like, their offense played fine. It was just their defense was awful. I mean, you saw 41 points, and Mariota only had a touchdown, at least a passing touchdown. But yeah, very good win for Washington. That offense looked great, looked like the offense from last season we saw. Yeah, definitely just a good comeback win.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive with Mariota. Like they kind of didn't like lose anything. I mean, Jane Daniels is obviously good, but they didn't really lose much with their offense. I will say though, like when Eckler went down, everyone was like Krosky Merritt's going to get all the carries, and like he was kind of being hyped up. But they pretty much have had like a split. Chris Rodriguez, McNichols had 4 carries and had a long touchdown. Um, it's kind of interesting. I think people were hyping him up so much that they expect him to just be the number one back, but I don't think he's ready for that. So anyone on their fantasy team that has merit on their fantasy team, he's not just going to like blow the doors off immediately. I mean, I think he's going to be good, but I think he was a little bit overhyped. Um, but also for I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I have Genti on my fantasy team, but I feel like he's not getting a lot of carries at all. Like he hasn't had more than I think 17 was his most this week in any game, and so he's not getting a lot of yards per carry, but he's not getting a lot of carries like at all, like generally. And like I think I forget if it was Pete Carroll or one of their coaches was talking about, or no, it was Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator, was talking about like giving Genti load, like he compared to load management, and he's like 20-year-old running, 22-year-old running back in his rookie year. I don't know why you're trying to do load management in week two, week three. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But Geno's been good. I know you didn't love Geno, I guess at times with the Seahawks, but he's been a good quarterback the last few years. Um, and he played well. Trey Tucker obviously had a huge game, but the Raiders are just not a good team. I feel like Pete Carroll. I don't know. I feel like it's not really going to work out there. He does have Geno Smith with him, like he did in Seattle, but yeah, not great in Las Vegas. And Genty needs to wait. They need to get him going because he's their best offensive player.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Genti's particularly in a great situation in Las Vegas. I don't think that offensive line is very good at all. So that definitely would have helped the case. All right. Next up, we have the Jets versus the Buccaneers. This was a crazy game. The Buccaneers picked up the win 29-27. The Jets came back very late in this game. In the fourth quarter, they outscored them by 15 points. You saw that block field goal, and they took it back for a touchdown. That was crazy, crazy, crazy game. Um, but there's still a minute and 50 seconds left on the clock, and Baker Mayfield, you know Baker's not going to screw that up. 3 of his games this year, all 3 of his games, he's had game-winning drives. Very impressive, super impressive. And the Jets fall to 0-3. I have one thing I'm pretty worried. I know it's 3 games in, but Aaron Glenn, that defense is looking really bad, and you brought Aaron Glenn into New York because he was a defensive coordinator. You haven't really seen improvements in that defense. It's actually been a lot worse since he's gone here, which is not a good thing. And yeah, we saw Yeah, we saw Tyrod Taylor play. He played all right. 2 touchdowns, an interception, a little under 200 yards. Not terrible, but not great by any means. Um, but I'm also very worried about Brees Hall. Brees Hall, I think Braylon Allen's starting to take that role a little bit. He only had 9 rushes for 21 yards. That is, yeah, that's not good at all. And we did see a good game though from Garrett Wilson, but just the Jets, yeah, they have to get something going on defense. But on the Buck side, Baker had another solid game. Bucky Irving played all right, and Mika Egbuka, another big game, 6 catches for 85 yards. Yeah, right now he's definitely, I guess, for the probably the rookie of the yeah, probably the rookie of the year right now. I don't think there's anyone else that's been crazy impressive. But yeah, we saw Mike Evans score a touchdown, but then he got hurt, so he'll be back. I think it just came out 2 to 3 weeks, so not terrible. Uh, but yeah, the Bucks defense looked fine until the very end, in which they started to give up those points. Uh, Jamel Dean got a touchdown, or he got an interception. So yeah, I think it was a good game for the Bucks. Picked up the win. It was just kind of unfortunate that it was that close.
Yeah, I mean, I love Baker. I'm like Baker's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. He seems to always like find a way. He makes big plays. Like he's just good. And the Browns are just I feel I mean we'll get to them. They had a big win, but like they could really use Baker Mayfield right now. Um, but Egbuka, another Ohio State wide receiver, dominating the NFL. It's kind of a common thing at this point. And the Jets, as soon as I saw Aaron Glenn dancing with 2 minutes left, doing that crazy dance after they scored the
That
touchdown,
was funny. It was really
every,
funny.
everyone knew they were going to lose. I mean, they always find a way to lose. It's the Jets, and it is the same old Jets, even though Aaron Glenn declined to say that.
Yeah. Yep. All right. This was another crazy game. The Rams versus the Eagles. The Eagles picked up the win, 33-26. Yeah, it was just an overall offense. It was a shootout in which the Eagles ended up winning. Yeah, the Rams were looking like they're gonna win this game, but then the Eagles kind of just prevailed. They came back a little bit. You saw they blocked that field goal. That was crazy, and they also took it back for a touchdown. But yeah, this was a good game. I think we saw Jalen Hurts. This was Jalen Hurts' first like very good game. Three passing touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown, the tush push, of course. Um, and we saw AJ Brown. AJ Brown had a good game. Finally, whoever has him in fantasy, good for you. He had 100 yards, 6 catches, and a touchdown. Saquon though, I'm surprised Saquon didn't really do much against the Rams. Usually he does amazing against the Rams, but no, he didn't really do much. And on the Lions side, um, they played solid. Stafford played all right. Puka also played very well. Puka is right now he's best receiver in fantasy, one of the best receivers in the league. Could be probably honestly this could be a hot take, but I think you could have the most yards in the NFL like at the end of the season because Jamar isn't getting it this year, definitely not. So it'll I don't know if there's anyone really better than Puka right now, at least for receiving yards wise. Yeah. But yeah, the Eagles got a nice win. There's not a lot of defense played here, except for that block kick. But yeah, good win for the Eagles. 3-0 start.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles were dead for like at least, well, I mean, halftime they looked dead, but of course they found a way. The Rams, this was like disappointing because I thought they were like making a statement and then they just collapsed, and the Eagles just found a way. Um, yeah, Puka is dominant, but I feel like Devontae is going to take some, like especially he had a long touchdown. Like actually doesn't have any touchdowns so far this year, which is a little bit surprising, even though he's had a ton of catches. Um, I feel like Devontae will take a little bit eventually away from Puka, so I'm not sure if he'll end up with the most yards in the NFL, but he is just completely dominant. No one can cover him right now. Um, but yeah, the Rams defense just fell apart in the second half, and then obviously the block kick, that was terrible coverage, field goal coverage by the Rams. I still really like. I was disappointed because I hate the Eagles, but I would have really liked to see the Rams like fully make the statement and win after they lost in the playoffs last year, and were very close to winning. So I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFC West. Um, but yeah, tough loss.
Yeah, it was a tough loss. All right, next up we have the Steelers versus the Patriots in New England. The Steelers picked up the win, 21-14. Very boring game, but yeah, the Steelers got the win here. Aaron Rodgers played. He played all right, only 140 yards passing, but 2 touchdowns. but also an interception. I was also pretty happy on the Patriots end. I thought Drake May played really well. 2 touchdowns, only one interception, 268 yards, and Hunter Henry, 90 yards, 8 catches for 2 touchdowns. But yeah, this was definitely a defensive game. I think everybody knew this was gonna be a very low scoring game. There were a few turnovers at least for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, I believe it was 2 times at the goal line. 2 times at
Hmm.
the goal line. 2 fumble losses, and then Drake May had a fumble loss, and then so did Antonio Gibson. So that was the problem for New England. They had 5 turnovers, which is that's not going to win you football games. And on their Steelers side, just an interception, but still, Patriots had 5 turnovers. They would have won this game 100% if they only had 3 turnovers. The point of this game was they couldn't keep the ball in their hands. The ball just fell out, lost it because of that. Pretty simple enough. This was a tough loss for the Patriots. They easily could have won this game. Yeah, they're gonna fall to the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean Drake May, he played okay, but then I think of all the turnovers, his pick in the end zone before halftime was like the biggest turning point in the game
Yeah, it was
because
tough.
their offense was starting to play well. Obviously they had turnovers. They had four other fumbles. Drake May also had one, but that pick was just it was just like it felt like they were maybe the better team than the Steelers in this game, but then the turnovers killed them. Rodgers, I feel like did not has not looked good since week one against the Jets. I don't know how that's going to end up. They're 2-1. The Steelers are always going to be competitive because of their defense. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Rodgers, I mean, he is 41 years old, so we'll see how long he can last this year. But yeah, he didn't play that well. And Jalen Warren, their rushing game is not good. So
No, it's bad, really bad. I think Jalen Warren, everyone was kind of hyping him up. He's not even that good. Just my personal opinion. Okay, next up, we have the battle of the backup quarterbacks, the Bengals and the Vikings. Carson Wentz and the Vikings just dominate the Bengals. Wasn't close. Carson Wentz looked good. It was kind of cool seeing Wentz just play well again. It's been a little while. Yeah, it was a good opportunity for him. Picked up the win. 2 touchdowns, 173 yards. Solid game for him. But Jordan Mason was the big story. 16 attempts, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. While yeah, the Bengals just they didn't do anything. They just didn't do much. Jake Browning doesn't look nearly as good as he did 2 years ago. He had 2 interceptions this game. Samaje Perine lost a fumble. So did Jamar Chase and Noah Fant. So a lot of turnovers this game. 2 fumbles. They had 2 fumbles. 2 fumbles on the receiving end. 2 fumbles. 2 fumbles on the rushing end, and an interception or 2 interceptions. So 6 total turnovers for Cincinnati. That's not going to win you football games. That's absurd. Like that 6 turnovers in the game. That's just ridiculous. If I'm just reading that one more time, but Minnesota, that defense has looked good once again. They've looked great under Flores, and yeah, it's starting to show. The Vikings, yeah, 2-1, pretty good start to the season. They just have to hope McCarthy's consistent because that's probably their big worry right now since he's basically a rookie. I'm just gonna call him a rookie because I think the whole league just views him as a rookie. But if they can stay consistent, if everything goes their way, they can be a playoff team. And this was a very nice win, even though it's backup versus backup.
yeah, the Bengals. The worst stat was Chase Brown, 10 carries for 3 yards. That's just how does that happen in an NFL game? I know they were losing pretty early on, and they ended up not running the ball that much. Um, but yeah, Browning not good after he wasn't good last week, even though they ended up winning. Um, yeah, Carson Wentz just like came in, looked good, ran the offense well. The running game was really good. They had 5.5 yards per carry. Um, Justin Jefferson still didn't have like a breakout game yet. I think he's still getting comfortable. He's had obviously two different quarterbacks this year. But I'm actually I'm worried about JJ McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell had a comment today. Like they asked him like, is he just gonna when he's like ready to come back? Is he just going to come back? And Kevin O'Connell was kind of not ready to just like insert him back in. Like I think they were a little bit concerned after his performance in week two against the Falcons. So he's still the best quarterback on the roster, and Wentz is not the long term option, obviously. But it was a little interesting that Kevin O'Connell was a little bit like unsure in his answer about McCarthy. Yeah, the Bengals. But back to the Bengals, like. That's Burrow getting hurt. That just kills their season. Like they finally
Um,
started hot. They've been 0-2 like every year. They're finally 2-0, and then Burrow's done for the year. So that's rough. it's going to be tough road for the Bengals. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this right here. I think that Joe Burrow should request a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. There's definitely something with that medical team which they aren't doing correctly because every single year Joe Burrow gets some injury that gets him out either the whole season or the majority of it, 3/4 of it. They got to get rid. He's got to request a trade because I don't want him to be like an Andrew Luck situation because that could easily happen. An Andrew Luck situation, really good quarterback, but he keeps getting injured, and that's gonna, I guess, screw him up for sure. And I think he should request a trade. Just my opinion. I'm gonna say that right now. All right. Next up, we have the Colts versus the Titans. The Colts, what a start they've been for sure. We were both definitely wrong so far about the Colts. I had them going 4-13 because I didn't trust Daniel Jones. I should have. I should have trusted him because he is apparently very good. Like he's been unbelievable. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this season. It's just funny saying that because Jared is a Giants fan, so he misses him very much. But yeah, this has been an incredible, actually incredible start for the Colts. But not just glazing Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor also had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor looked very good. He's been very, very solid this season under a Colts offense that's really working. It's really working out. And Michael Pittman scored. Michael Pittman hasn't been bad either. Been very underrated. Um, and on the Titans side a little bit, that defense it got torched by Daniel Jones, by Indiana Jones, excuse me. Cam Ward, I think he played better, not great, but definitely better. 219 yards, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, not terrible. Tony Pollard scored, but there's not much to say about the Titans. But the Colts, when was the last time they started 3-0? It was like long time ago, way before we were born. Uh, but good stuff for the Colts. It's good to see Daniel Jones play well under a system that is treating him well.
I mean, this. I'm not gonna go and say Daniel Jones like is now like a completely different guy. I mean, he's playing great. He needed a change of scenery, but this just shows you what a good offensive line and a good like coaching, I guess, offensive coaching staff can do. I mean, for most of Jones' career, Giants' career, we just didn't protect him. He got hurt. He didn't protect himself either. He never slid. He got neck injuries, but that's beside the point. Jonathan Taylor, just like they have huge holes, great blocking every play. It seems like Quentin Nelson's probably one of the best, if not the best O lineman in the NFL. Um, but yeah, I'm shocked they're 3-0. But if you look at just the way their offense is run, you can't be surprised that they're 3-0 because they're just like a dominant offense. And on the Titans side, what a disaster! Brian Callahan's a disaster, and they actually just Callahan actually just announced that he's giving play call duties over to Bo Hardegree, which is I think he's their offensive coordinator. Um, so he's kind of admitting, I guess, that he can't call plays well because but like what is going on? I mean, he's terrible. Brian Callahan, like has made so many mental mistakes with clock management. He couldn't decide whether to kick a field goal or not before halftime. They wasted like 2 timeouts. It was a disaster. And Cam Ward, tough situation. Um, Titans are not good. I think I don't know if Brian Callahan will make it through the season.
No, I don't think he will. Just personal, I've never been very high on him. I don't think he's been very good. He was a good coordinator with the Bengals, but he's been a terrible coach so far. All right. All right. Not 4 o'clock games yet, but moving on, we have definitely the upset of the week. The Packers lost to the Browns, 13-10. I mean, this was just a shit show. This game, it was terrible.
Breaking news: Jackson Dart, it's Adam Schefter. Jackson Dart.
Actually,
Yep. Sorry to
wow.
interrupt, but
Hey, no, you're good. Actually, I'm gonna check that right now. Jackson Dart. Damn, of course you got it right, and then this source didn't get it right. Yeah.
Dart.
Okay. All right. Jackson Dart is the starting quarterback now for the New York Giants. At least he's starting week 4. Yeah, good for him. Giants fans, I know are very happy. I'm sending this to one of my friends right now, who's been dreading Jackson Dart to start. I'm sending that right now. All right, just sent it. All right. Moving back to this game, this was just a shit show. This game, it was terrible. This was a really embarrassing loss for Green Bay. This was one of my locks. I had them destroying the Browns. But this one game that this game shows, this Browns defense is incredible. Like, really, really good. Listen, they're not going to win games with their offense, but the only way they can stay in these games is the defense. That defense is really good. I mean, Mason Graham's a good rookie, and then obviously Myles Garrett is going to step up for you guys. Yeah, this was a definitely a shocking win. I think everybody's shocked to say the least. But congrats, the Browns. This might be one of your few wins of the season, and it's a hell of a win for sure. Uh, yeah, you made a team who I did say, was definitely one of the best teams in the NFL, arguably top two, and you just stopped them. You really shut them down. A very impressive win for Cleveland. Just figure out that offense, and maybe you can be a better team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not going to give the Browns as much credit as you did. I feel like this is more of a Packers collapse. Everyone was so high on the Packers after 2 weeks, and I was high on the Packers. I mean, they were playing great football, but like they like had multiple opportunities to put this game away, and they basically just collapsed in the last few minutes. And obviously another blocked field goal, which is crazy this week. Um, but I feel like. I mean, Jordan Love did not have a good game. The entire Packers team did not have a good game. Micah Parsons didn't do too much, I don't think, on the other side of the ball. They just like, I mean, and they had a chance to win the game in the last second, even if the last 20 seconds, even though they played terribly and they kick out blocked, and then they allowed a 55-yard field goal to lose the game. So I feel like the Browns, the defense did play well, but I still don't. I think this is more of a Packers just terrible game than a Browns good game because they it was pretty ugly. I mean, they had no points with 4 minutes left. I mean, you're not going to win any games usually when you have no points with 4 minutes left. So I don't know how much longer Joe Flacco has. Um, but I mean, you got to give the Browns defense credit. I will give them credit. Garrett had a huge game, and yeah, big win for them.
The next game I want to talk about, definitely one I am excited to speak on. One of my locks this week, the Seattle Seahawks beat the New Orleans Saints this week 44-13. An overall great performance. Definitely one of the best games I've seen in a long time. I know it's against the Saints. The Saints are horrible. Like they're really, really bad. But I saw this game went by so smoothly because every Seahawks game I watch is always stressful in some way. This game just wasn't. It just wasn't stressful. It was 28-3 at one point. This game was out of reach at the start. But Torrey Horton, that's the guy I want to talk about here. Torrey Horton, our rookie receiver, had a really big day. Kick return touchdown and also receiving touchdown. A huge day for him. And also JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. 5 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. He's quickly turning into one of the best receivers in the NFL. I'd give him top 10, borderline top 10. Not ridiculous to say that, I don't think. Kenneth Walker had another pretty good day. 2 touchdowns. Didn't have a lot of rushing yards, but still 2 touchdowns is very good. And Sam Darnold, he didn't really play in the fourth quarter, but he only threw 18 passes, completed 14 of them. 2 touchdowns. Very efficient day for them. Very efficient day for Darnold. And once again, the defense is looking amazing. This defense is, so far, it's looking legit. I don't think, correct, I want to make sure if I'm right because this is my own team. Um, the amount of points that the Seahawks have given up is nothing. We really haven't given them any points at all. There hasn't been a game this season where we've given over 20 points up. So teams have scored 17, 17, and 13. So we haven't given up 20 plus points yet, which is it's incredible. Like that's actually incredible. And this defense is just looking great. I think the pass rush still needs to improve a little bit, but the secondary has been really, really good. We saw Darian Kendrick got an interception. Yeah, only one interception, but just a really good day for this team. We only had 2 sacks. Byron Murphy had 1.5 sack from Leonard Williams, the big cat, and we had a sack from Ty Okota. And yeah, just a really, really complete game for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it. I don't have much to add on this game. The Saints are a terrible football team, and the Seahawks just they did what they were supposed to do, dominated the game. It was over in the first quarter, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, the Seahawks, like you could give them. I'm not gonna. I know you'll agree with this. Like you're not gonna give them like, oh, we're gonna win the NFC West
Yeah,
type of
no,
vibes after that game. But yeah, it's what they were supposed to do, and I guess I can hope that Jackson Dart in Week 5 against the Saints will do the same thing. But
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I missed the Saints part because I thought he was
Yeah, we're
just like
playing the Saints in week
random
5.
comment. Yeah, the Seahawks have a big test next week against the Cardinals. If we can win that game, then maybe we'll be a serious team. But we'll see. We'll see that later. Okay, moving on. Between this game is between the Broncos and the Chargers. Chargers picked up the win, 23-20. Got a game-winning field goal. Um, we saw, unfortunately, Najee Harris is out for the season for the Chargers. Just that's a big loss for him. But Amari and Hampton will step up. He had a good game finally, 70 yards and a touchdown, and I believe he had a lot of receiving yards. If I want to check right now, yeah, 50. Yeah, geez, 6 catches, 59 yards. So very good game for Amari and Hampton. Keenan Allen looked good, 7 catches, 65 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, it was a good day just for this offense, and this defense played pretty well. Um, the Broncos have struggled so far, definitely. That offense has struggled. Cortland Sutton looked good, but Bo Nix hasn't looked particularly great. That defense is keeping them in games for right now, but a good win for the Chargers.
And this was an entertaining game. Yeah, I mean Herbert, the throw he made with 2 minutes left, they believe it was to Keenan. I think it was Keenan Allen to tie the game. That was a ridiculous throw, and Herbert just he continuously shows like his arm talent is like up there with Josh Allen. He needs to be a little bit more consistent, and he's done that this year. He's been really consistent. I really like the Chargers. I think they're well coached. Jim Harbaugh, he just wins wherever he goes, whether it's college or in the NFL. Um, yeah, I know Jack's not a big Jim Harbaugh guy because
You
of the
weren't
beef with Pete
either.
Carroll. I'm
You
I'm
weren't.
not I'm not a big fan, but I just saw you shaking your head. So yeah,
Yeah.
I hated Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, but I respect that he's able to win in the NFL, and he completely changed their culture after Brandon Staley was a disaster. So the Broncos, wait, who ended up winning the Broncos? Wait,
Chargers won.
oh, Chargers won. Yeah, Chargers won. Broncos are 1-2, but I'm still feeling okay about the Broncos. They played a decent game, but
Yeah, I'm
now the
fine.
Char yeah, now the Chargers face the Giants in week 4, which is pretty much an automatic win for them. So they'll probably be 4-0, which is probably the best they've started in a long time. Um, and yeah, the Chargers just good football team, and Broncos. It was a competitive game. It could have gone either way.
Yeah. All right, next game we have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. Just one big news from this game that Nick Bosa is out for the season. Obviously, a big loss for San Francisco. Um, yeah, their injuries are starting to pile up for sure. Um, we've seen Brock Purdy, we've seen George Kittle, and now Nick Bosa. That's tough. That's tough, and it happens like every year. Actually, it happens every year. So, um, we'll see how they move forward with that. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. But 3-0 is a very, very good start for San Francisco. And the Cardinals, they didn't play a terrible game. They kept themselves in it. I think Marvin Harrison, I didn't watch the game that close, but I heard Marvin Harrison did something. Did he like drop a
He just
pass?
had multiple terrible
Yeah, he
drops.
dropped like a lot of passes. That's what I heard. So if he caught some passes, they probably would have won this game. They had the game right in their hands. It's in front of us. Quote Aaron Boone. Sorry. I just want to say that. But yeah, San Francisco got a nice win here. A divisional opponent, 3-0 start.
Yeah. This was an ugly game. Big news for the Cardinals too. James Conner out for the year, ankle
Oh yeah,
injury.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So that Trey Benson time, I guess. But yeah, that was a pretty bad injury because Connor's been like a dominant running back for them the last couple of years. That's actually like 4 years he's been on the Cardinals. Kyler needs to play better, not just because he's on my fantasy team, but because the other quarterbacks in the NFC West are playing very well, and he needs to keep up. I mean, when you're being outplayed by Mac Jones, it's not a good sign. Um, and so it was a low scoring game. Cardinals Seahawks this week will be very interesting. Those games are always very interesting in the NFC West. They're usually very close games. As you know, the Seahawks seem to always play close games no matter what, except against the Saints. Um,
Pretty much.
yeah, so Cardinals, what are they? They're 2-1. Actually, everyone in the NFC West is above 500, which is interesting. But once they start playing each other, that'll change. So I'm excited for the Thursday night game. But Kyler needs to step up because he's just been very inconsistent, and Marvin Harrison too also needs to step up.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right. In our last, I guess, afternoon slate for this game for this week, We have the Cowboys versus the Bears. Bears picked up a nice win, 31-14. Caleb Williams played amazing, very, very well. We saw a lot of things from Romo Dunze, who's looked great, and also DJ Moore scored a touchdown late in the game. But one takeaway, just one thing, I think Jared can talk about this more than I will. The Cowboys just stink. They're just not a good team. Dak Prescott's washed. Their defense is awful. Like their defense is horrible. Like very, very bad. Um, the only really bright spot I have from this team so far this season, Javonte Williams has actually been very good. But that's about it. There's not much to say. But Caleb Williams had his best game of the year, 4 touchdowns, 298 yards, and also Luther Burden, Missouri player last season. I believe their second round pick, and he had a big day, 101 yards, 3 catches, and a touchdown. So good for him getting other players involved. But this was a nice win for the Bears. They smoked the Cowboys.
Yeah, this was much needed for the Bears after getting destroyed and Ben Johnson getting booed out of Ford Field. That was tough. I felt bad for him because anyone would have taken a head coaching job over an offensive coordinator job. I don't blame him for doing that. Um, but yeah, the Cowboys. I mean, just to tell you how bad their defense is. Russell Wilson has like I think 250 combined passing yards in his two other games, and then he had 450 against the Cowboys in 2025, allowing Russell Wilson to have a 450-yard passing game. It just, I
Says
mean, that just
something.
tells you,
Says something.
yeah, there's something wrong, dysfunctional about their defense. They obviously traded Micah Parsons, which is a big deal, but Trayvon Diggs has not looked good, um, and the Cowboys' offense took a big step back this week. Um, but yeah, Javonte's been better, much better than I could have expected. And Jake Ferguson at 13 catches. I mean, that's
Yeah, that was
interesting.
another.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of the Cowboys are just not a good team. They're not going to be in the playoffs, I don't think. But the Bears, they really needed this game, especially at home. Um, with it was actually it was America's game of the week, which is a little bit weird that was the game of the week.
Dallas, because it's Dallas.
It's true, but that was a much needed win, and Caleb played great. I mean, that was maybe his best game of his career.
Yeah, that definitely was up. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably was to be honest. Okay, now we're going to the prime time. We have 2 games left. The first game here we talk about we have the Giant. We have the Chiefs versus the Giants. The Chiefs picked up the win, 22-9. Sorry, Shane, your lock didn't hit. I don't know if you saw that clip, right? My friend Shane. Yeah, he said the Giants were a lock to win, but honestly, it was still pretty close. We saw, I think, two takeaways from this. Russell Wilson shouldn't be the starter. That was a big one. Actually, if I have another one, Cam Scadaboo should probably be the running back one. He will be now because Tyron Tracy got hurt. But yeah, Cam Scadaboo, he's fun to watch. Like, he's that spark that they need. Jackson Dart and him, I think, can mesh really well together. And the second takeaway, I still don't think the Chiefs are very good. Or third takeaway, the Chiefs are not that, like, they aren't great as of right now. They probably will turn around, but they're a mess right now. Mahomes hasn't looked good. That offense hasn't looked good. Their defense looked great, but that's about it. That offense, it needs a lot of work. And Mahomes, I know there's a lot of injuries. That's a big part of it. But there's something about this team that feels a little weird, at least in the regular season. They'll still probably do well in the playoffs because I'm assuming they'll make it. But I'm not really sold on this team.
Yeah, I mean this was an ugly game, and from the Giant, like just watching it, you could tell once Graham Gano got hurt again in an before the opening kickoff, you knew that we were not winning this game because any close game with no kicker, this just the same thing happened last year in week 2, against Washington. Graham Gano, I've had enough of him. He needs to either retire or we need to cut him because he keeps getting hurt in pregame, and we have nowhere to go after that. Um, but yeah, Scadaboo was the only bright spot in this game. I mean, when Scadaboo wasn't getting the ball, it felt like no one was getting the ball because it was either a terrible throw by Russell Wilson. Um, I mean, well, there were a lot of terrible plays by Russell Wilson, but um, I have too much to say about the Giants. But all I need to say is they're a dysfunctional team, and it's a disaster in a lot of ways. The fact that Malik Neighbors doesn't get a target until the fourth quarter, I don't care
Yeah,
what kind of shell coverage Steve Spagnuolo is playing. I don't care what Chris Collinsworth is saying about how they're taking him out of the game plan. If you can't like find a single target for him before the fourth quarter, then there's a dysfunctional part of their offense or the it's just terrible. The defense, Brian Burns looks really good. Um, he's actually on pace for 17 sacks, which would be great. He'll be an all pro. But for the most part, there's no bright spots. But now Jackson Dart is starting, so maybe I'll be excited to watch. But we're not winning more than 4 or 5 games this year, and just terrible game.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, this was just not a fun game to watch. Russ, that I think honestly that last drive, I think it was the last drive where he just kept throwing the
Hmm.
ball over. I think that probably could have been the deciding factor. If I'm
They showed Dayball on the sideline. He was like, I
he
mean,
was
I don't
dead.
try. I personally have had enough of Brian Dayball, and he blamed Daniel Jones for years, and clearly this
Oh,
is
he's turning. You're done.
no. I've been done with Dayball for a while. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but Kafka too. The play call, Mike Kafka.
Oh my God,
Some of the
he's
play
still the
calling.
how is he still the play caller?
Yeah, 3rd and 5, uh, read option with Russell Wilson. I mean, what are we doing in the red zone? And then we kick a field goal with an injured Graham Gano, and he's like
Yeah.
doubling over in pain. What are we doing? And Russell
Um,
Wilson, you're throwing the ball out of the end zone on 4th down, well, 1st down, 3rd down, and 4th down, but on 4th down especially. I mean, what are you like? I'm happy for you that you got to watch Russell Wilson in his prime because I'm watching Russell Wilson. Actually, this is the last time I'll watch him because he's done. But I'm watching him as like a aging like crap quarterback, basically. Just
yeah.
disgrace.
And
What a
like
disgrace.
just as we're on the topic of the Giants, can you talk about your defensive coordinator a little bit?
Yeah, he's awful. Shane Bowen doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, we could go back to the Dallas game, playing the softest coverage when you know they have Brandon Aubrey with 14 seconds left. You let a tight end in the middle of the field. This week we played decent, but I think that's more because the Chiefs just have no good receivers healthy, right? Like there were a couple plays where it could have been 36-9. I mean, Shane Bowen, the coverage is just like the cornerbacks don't know what they're doing. Drew Phillips has been terrible after he was great last year. Terrible penalties. There's no discipline on their defense. I think Shane Bowen could be actually the first to go. I mean, we could have a completely new coaching staff next year, but Shane Bowen, um, cousin of Jake Bowen, terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I know one of my some of my friends here are ranting a little bit about him and they want him out already. All right. So, last game I want to talk about here, or last game on the schedule, Monday Night Football last night, was between the Lions and the Ravens, and the Lions um, picked up the win 38-30. Yeah, this was a shootout. I think Jared could talk about this game a little more than I did because I didn't really feel great last night. I had to wake up at 4 in the morning for a club for my school. But yeah, just looking at the scores, 38-30. I was looking at the stat line. Lamar still played really well. I do know about the Derrick Henry fumble, so I think another fumble. So Derrick Henry's maybe costing them 2 games. They've blown away 2 easy games they could have definitely won. Yeah, the Ravens. I wouldn't panic, but they got to figure out when it comes to just being in close games. And just one more thing, I saw David Montgomery played really well, so good for him.
Yeah, this was a really fun game until, well, if you're a Ravens fan, it was fun until the Henry fumble, but it was a fun game for if you're just watching Monday night. Lions look great once again on offense. They kind of had after week one, they've looked like they're back to where they should be offensively after losing Ben Johnson to the Bears. Um, Amon Ra, great game again. Jared Goff looked good. Um, the Ravens just feels like late in games they just like I don't know what happens, but they look like a dominant team for most of the game, and then late in games they just fall apart and whatever. Like they find a way to lose. Um, yeah, I mean Derrick Henry fumbled, pretty much cost them the game, but I wouldn't have been confident they were going to win either way because they would probably would have found a way to lose, and the Lions just seem to be a more clutch team. And Dan Campbell, that 4th and 2, he's not the play caller, but he decides that they're going for it, and a 4th and 2 to throw to Amon Ra to basically ice the game. That was another just ballsy play by Dan Campbell. That's like their identity. But the Ravens just like feels like they're kind of the opposite of the Lions, how they kind of get very like hesitant and timid late in games, and the Lions just like dominate late in games. Um, so yeah, Ravens. It's concerning. I think they'll still be like a good team this year. They lost to the Bills and the Lions. It's the two, probably maybe two of the best teams in the NFL. But it's concerning that they keep blowing games late, and their defense is not good either.
Yeah, no. Their defense doesn't look great. All right, and that'll do it for episode 60 of Chicky Sports Talk. Jared, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Finally had time. We both been busy in college, so yeah, it takes up a lot of our time. But make sure to follow our socials on JK Sports Talk on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. Yeah, and I did I say Twitter? All right, you know the idea. And we'll see you guys next time.